welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and welcome to another Everton 24/7 report, keeping you up to date with all today's Everton news. Now, we were hoping today may finally be the day we announce the signing of Andre Gomes, but unfortunately that will most likely have to wait now until later on this week. However, we have managed to get one signature on the dotted line today, and that is our club stalwart, Leighton Baines. He's signed a new one-year deal. And of course, fellow stalwart Phil Jagielka had left us on a free this summer. And with Baines' current contract up at the end of the month, we were starting to wonder whether or not he'd be joining him in the exit door. But thankfully, he's sticking around, and he'll continue to be an able deputy to Lucas Digne for at least one more year. When he was interviewed by EvertonFC.com, Leighton Baines said, "It was always in my mind to stay because of talks I've had with the manager and Marcel. I've had numerous conversations with Marcel, and I've spent more time with him and got to know more about him towards the back end of last season. And during the off-season, I became more and more impressed with him from having the one-on-one time and understanding his vision and the direction he's trying to take the club. That gives you more optimism about where the club is headed, and that must be music to any Everton fans' ears, because if he can make that kind of impression on the current squad, surely he can rub off as positively on potential new signings, and maybe we can see some glamorous arrivals coming in later on this summer. But there you have it, Leighton Baines will still be Everton's number 3 next season. Perhaps not the fanfare we were expecting with a potential Andre Gomes announcement, but certainly good news nonetheless for one of our own who will be staying here for at least another year. Of course, on the Gomes front, the news that broke today is that the fee has been agreed in the region of £22 million plus add-ons. According to Sky Sports News, the formalities of the deal should be concluded in the next 24 hours. So hopefully it won't be long until Andre Gomes is a permanent Everton player, fingers crossed. From one loan being made permanent to another, I spoke a few days ago on here about how Nikola Vlasic was expecting to leave Everton this summer and how his agent was trying to push through a deal to make his loan to CSKA Moscow a permanent one. Well, that deal has been done now, with CSKA announcing today that he has signed a 5-year contract with them. As you might have gathered from my comments on the previous show the other night, I wasn't a massive fan of Vlasic. I believe that we'd benefit from cashing in on him, even if it meant a slight loss. Well, today it has been announced that the fee involved is around £14 million, which is a £4 million profit on a player who, let's be honest, has made a minimal impact on Everton over the last 2 years. Or if you want to put it this way, 2/3 of Andre Gomes' potential transfer fee has already been recouped by selling Nikola Vlasic. Granted, the lad is still young and could become a fantastic player in Russia and maybe go on to have a good career in Europe. But from our perspective, hats off to Marcel Brands once more for what's another cracking piece of business in my opinion. And by all means, let us know your opinions on Marcel Brands' transfer operations this summer and, of course, Nikola Vlasic's departure. Moving on, and time for the usual roundup of the rest of our transfer rumours, and it seems like every other day that Cenk Tosun is linked with a return to Turkey. Today it's Galatasaray's turn to be linked with a move for the striker, courtesy of a leading Turkish media outlet called Aksam. Now, despite the fact that Tosun may well be running out of time to make an impression at Goodison, I can't see this happening, mainly as it's a Turkish team. There's not that much money flowing around in the Turkish game. We're less likely to get a transfer fee, which wouldn't be a massive loss on our 27 million investment, which with every passing month seems to be more of an overpayment than we'd have liked. It's also hard to believe that Galatasaray, of all teams, would pursue Tosun, given how they're very keen on signing another player on Everton's books, Henry Onyekuru. He was there on loan last season and they're trying to make that permanent. So I can't see Tosun being a Galatasaray player come the end of this transfer window. And given the frequency of the empty rumours coming from Turkey a lot of the time, it's hard to believe that that's a goer. Now for a possible arrival, and yet another left-footed winger to have been linked with Everton this summer, and this time it is young Jared Bowen. He's a 22-year-old Hull City player who really impressed in the Championship last year with 22 goals. He's also been linked with Tottenham according to Football League World, though, they have dropped their interest, and now it's between Everton and Southampton to vie it out for his signature. He's got obviously a very impressive goal return at Championship level, and it'd be interesting to see how he did in the Premier League. He certainly fits into the Marcel Brands model of signing early 20s, impressive young players, and you'd imagine he'd be considerably cheaper than the sort of 50 million fee that's been suggested for David Neres, albeit a much less glamorous signing perhaps, but certainly a good way to save money and maybe still get quite an effective inverted winger. Moving on, and finally, the England under-21s prospects was something I discussed very briefly last night. Well, those prospects took quite a blow last night as they lost their first group game to France, courtesy of a last-minute Wan-Bissaka own goal. Unfortunately, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was the only player from our ranks to get any minutes on the pitch whatsoever last night. But with England now sort of playing catch-up, if you like, and we need to bounce back, hopefully our lads might get a chance to see a bit more game time in the next game, and that's on Friday against Romania, so be sure to look out for that. But that's all from Everton 24/7 for tonight. Be sure to check out tomorrow night's report, where fingers crossed we might have an Andre Gomes announcement to give you. But until then, thanks for watching the Toffee Blues.